Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the pickup truck. It's not in the shop right now, but it will be shortly. So you guys might be wondering, what are we working on? A few weeks ago, maybe actually about a month ago, depending on how the video schedule has gone, I kind of hinted that we would be working on the truck. Well, the time has finally come. The Corvette is pretty much done. It is running. We've gone drag racing with it. You will have already seen that video. The SS behind me, just still running good, not having any issues with that. And we're kind of, for the next few videos, probably 3 or 4 videos, depending on shoot schedule and what parts we're going to end up adding. But what we're going to be doing is doing a small refresh on the front suspension of the truck. I kind of mentioned that we were doing some steering stuff. Well, that's what we'll be working on. Today, we'll be working on installing the steering stabilizer shock. So there's a few different names for it, but actually it's the stabilizing steering damper. I refreshed the front suspension a couple years ago. Actually in the rear too, I put the Bilstein shocks in it. I didn't have the 5100s, I just did the standard yellow and blue ones. I think those are the 3100 series. And they actually don't offer this damper in the 3100 series. So this is the 5100 series. The part number is 33174-525. And I want to say I picked this up for $80, $75 to $80, something like that. It wasn't super expensive, but I read a lot of online reviews and this seemed to get some pretty good feedback on eBay and Amazon and whatnot. So I'll have a link in the description below for this part. You guys on your trucks and your GMC or Silverados, the Duramax, or I guess the gas motors, the HD series, the 2500 series, you can pick this up in the link below. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll get the truck in here and get the truck torn down. Alright guys, we're going to remove the 4 15mm bolts from the protective skid pan that's protecting the front diff and the oil pan. Alright guys, we are under the car and you can see the shock / damper right here. It actually appears to be leaking, or, well, something else is leaking above it, dripping on it. Basically there's a lock nut over on this end, and then on the driver's side there is a bolt here and nuts on top. Those are 18mm. Actually I think all 3 of them are. And this will slide out, but the passenger side, we may have to use a pickle fork to knock that whole assembly loose. So let's get that hardware out. Alright guys, this project turned out to be a little bit more of a pain in the butt than I thought it was going to be. As you can see, I am now filthy. Basically, you have to get the 18mm nut and bolt out of here. I just used my impact and with a 18mm socket on one end, a 18mm wrench on the other. And then this bolt was also 18mm. I didn't have a self-ratcheting wrench, unfortunately, so I had to literally unscrew that one thread at a time. Finally, about halfway up, this hardware got loose and I was able to just pull it off by hand. Now, as you guys can see, I have my air chisel, my air hammer, and a pickle fork attachment on it. I had used that to get this rod out of the steering arm assembly. This was pretty stuck in there, and I tried just using a pickle fork and a hammer, but I wasn't getting it. So I busted out the air tool, and that literally zipped it out within 20 seconds. That came right out. Now, the Bilstein aftermarket one, I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize right here. That should help prevent any problems with trying to remove this in the future. So a little bit of anti-seize here, and maybe a little bit on the nut, just to help that come off a little bit easier. So let's get the new damper assembly into the truck, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so we have the new damper assembly into the steering arm. Putting the flat washer, flat slide down on top, and then put the locking nut on top, and we're going to thread this in by hand. Alright, so the damper assembly is now in. Ooh. Alright guys, as you can see, the new damper is in. Did have to straighten out this boot a little bit. Honestly guys, it's just held on with the zip tie on this side, and on the other side it's just kind of a suction cup. So that looks kind of, if it looks kind of jagged, you can just twist it and it'll loosen up. But put the nut on top. Here's the funny thing guys, that new nut is 19mm. I don't know why, but the new nut that comes with the Bilstein damper is 19mm, so be aware of that. That's 19mm up top. You're using the factory hardware back here, so that'll be 18mm. Torque down this bolt to 30 foot-pounds, and torque down that new 19mm nut on top. Torque that down to 30 foot-pounds as well. After you're done with that, put the skid plate back on, and also I removed the front skid plate, so that goes on as well. Those are all 15mm bolts. And those are just, they're not really torqued, just tight. So let's get that torqued and we'll get this project finished up. Alright guys, as you can see, the truck is back together. There's no parts on the ground, there's no tools. I've put everything away. All in all, I have maybe 40 minutes in this. I did just go inside and washed up and cleaned up, so let's take 10 minutes for cleaning up. So you've got maybe 30 or 45 minutes in this total time to get this repair / upgrade installed. The damper was really easy to install. All I had to do was just use a couple of tools, power tools and air tools, but I had all those. You could do this by hand, but I wouldn't recommend it. You know, use tools to speed up your time. And overall, I didn't have any issues, really. I mean, everything came apart. New one went right back in, and like I said, I did put a little bit of anti-seize on the bolt, as you guys saw. That's just to help, you know, prevent threads from gulling and hopefully get this thing apart faster the next time I have to. But that's pretty much it for installing the damper. I'm going to go for a test drive, see how it goes, and if I have any problems, I'll do a follow-up video. But for now, that's going to be it for this upgrade. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below. I always do read those and try to reply to actual questions and try to get you the right answer. So I do see those. And before we close this out, if you guys want to help support the channel, I do have a link in the description below to the damper from Bilstein. You can pick one of those up. And also don't forget, I also have merchandise. I've got my t-shirts, sweatshirts, I've got keychains, I also got stickers. Those are also in the links below. Teespring's where the t-shirts and sweatshirts are, and eBay is where my stickers and keychains are. So if you guys want to help support the channel, click those links. And if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. Thanks and have a great day.